Man Show here with Coach Chris Mooney of the Richmond Spiders. 6-1 all the season. They got a game against Hofstra tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So, Coach, how are you guys doing, man? How's everything going to you guys this year?
Going well, going well. We were during this, very different off season. We were just really hopeful and praying that we'd be able to have a season. So far we feel like we've played well against a really good schedule and just looking forward to playing as many games as we possibly can, to be honest with you.
And, Coach, you guys have been very lucky and blessed to play 7 games in this COVID year. Some guys have been having multiple pauses, only playing 1 game, no game. So people having playing 7 games against quality opponents. How blessed are you and your team and your players are right now?
Yeah, we're very fortunate. I look around and you see different teams paused for different amounts of time, and it's hard to make those games back up. We actually had a situation where we did miss 2 games in a week with false positives. So that was very frustrating, but we were able to come back, get one of those games back. And now we're looking at, being able to finish our non-conference with 8 games. And like you said, a lot of teams are not close to that. So we're fortunate, and we're hoping that, that we just can make the most of it. We've been given this good opportunity. We're hoping that we can make the most of it.
Now, Coach, how did you all manage this season's offseason for March? Because I know you was ready to have a tournament up there, and all of a sudden it got stopped ASAP up there in Brooklyn. So how was it kind of managing your guys going back home, managing them, keeping them semi in shape at home, and coming back to you guys and getting them to where they are today?
Yeah, it was difficult because I think we had a great season last year and we're getting ready to play in the A10 tournament, the NCAA tournament, and it was very sudden. If you remember, now it seems like these games have been long, or these days have all been long and strung together. But at that time, it was extremely sudden and out of nowhere, and you didn't really know what to think. So I feel like that was hard. We came back and then everybody went home and for a long time. So the biggest thing for us is to make sure we communicated with our guys, that we were talking all the time, just staying in touch, trying to manage it. Most guys were able to start playing basketball, pick up basketball and that kind of stuff, much earlier than we were able to come back as a school. So that was important to them. And I think that really helped keep them sane and keep them moving forward. And then we really dove into the plans in terms of coming back to school and how that would work and the progression once we got back. So, but being apart was, I hated it, just not being around the guys. We're used to seeing them really multiple times a day, on buses or meetings or the weight room or on the practice floor. And to not have that just didn't feel right and didn't feel good. So that was really frustrating and something I don't think any of us enjoyed.
Now, Coach, academically wise, no, for me, Coach, I can't do online. I need to be in person, right? So I need that teaching in front of them. So missing that structure of study halls, having assistant coaches kind of look after them, they act tutors as well. So how is that for your young men having to get tutoring in study halls virtually now rather than having them on campus in a structure that you all had set up already on campus there?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think that the university, as many schools and colleges around the country, did a great job and put so much effort and commitment into the online learning. But it's extremely different. I have 2 boys myself at home who are online for the rest of the spring, and it's just very different. You don't have that feeling that the teachers, might be giving you a certain look. You know what I mean, without necessarily saying anything, or you can turn your screen off for a minute as you get distracted. So that was really, really challenging. And at Richmond, we've been here a while. We feel like we have good formulas and systems to help the guys, especially when they're younger. And so to not have that and to be absent that human interaction, I think as a lot of people around the country, around the world have felt, that's really a big challenge. And our guys were no different. That was something that was hard for them. And I feel like they were conscientious enough to stay on their studies, but certainly far different than had they been in person.
Most definitely, Coach. And speaking of that, those guys are 18 and 24 years old. And, you have a pandemic going around them, a lot of negativity going on in the country at the time. So having those Zoom calls with your players probably gave them a lot of joy and a lot of just a little bit of change of pace from just being at home
Yeah.
with mom and dad again. Because when you're that young, you're not used to adversity. It can bring you down. So how'd you make sure you keep your guys positive with their vibes up, knowing that hey, a lot's going on around them they don't quite understand, but trying to help them through as best you can with the experience you have as being a coach all these years.
Yeah, well, that's a great point, and I think that was the most important thing is like making sure we're continuing to see the guys, to talk to the guys, to work through it, to have the Zooms. We would play some games on the Zoom like Family Feud, Jeopardy, and
Oh yeah,
uh, and things that our guys probably wouldn't be as excited about or into, but in that situation they were, and they handled themselves great. Even when we got back, we really progressed very deliberately. So we were doing running workouts outside, something we really don't do here. So they had to go through that, and that was the only thing they would do all day. And your fast food places might be closed or there are certain hours. I mean, everybody had to make big adjustment, including our guys, and that's something that is a challenge. It's just a challenge, especially when you just don't have what you usually have is going to the gym, being together, talking to each other, going to grab a bite to eat as a team. Those things were so different, and I was impressed with the way they managed everything.
Now, Coach, how was the ramp up? Because I know you want to avoid a soft tissue injury that lasts all year long, or get a guy hurt from going too hard too soon. So, how was trying to keep those young guys who've been bottled up, man? Well, I want to get out there and get at it again. How'd you keep them calm as you got them ramped back up to where they are today?
Well, that was another challenging part because most of them have been playing tons of basketball and working out and playing pickup. When we came back, the university rules very deliberately got us back into sport. And so we went, you know, a month without playing basketball. And, we were just doing outside. And, at the time, of course, we were mainly worried about, the testing, which we are worried about now too, and the spread and those kinds of things. So we were really trying to keep our guys outside and distance and whatnot. And that was tough. And so I think managing that was really hard because they just wanted to play, and here they were on campus with no classes like they usually have, and they couldn't go to the gym either. So that was tough, and it was something that, there are these protocols in place for the health and well-being and benefit of everybody, but it's hard day to day to go through those and understand. And so we, again, just continuing to talk to them, continuing to encourage them, and explain what the importance of all those things were. And like they really handled it well. I think there was some frustration, mainly because they just wanted to play, but I think they really handled themselves well and have put it together, and their progression has gotten us to this point, which is positive.
Now, Coach, for us putting stuff in, now I know we had that deliberate ramp up. You can't get everything you want to get in right away. So, how has it been kind of play through the kinks right now, even while you're still winning, but kind of figure out what you are, what you want to use, what kind of team you are right now, what can you do, what you can, knowing that the A10 starts here real soon in about 2 weeks here, the A10 is kicking in. So, how's that been trying to get stuff in and kind of ramp that up as well?
Yeah, really challenging. And I think for us, we're a veteran team. We start 4 seniors. And so, for our guys, a lot of that is review. But for the new guys, we're trying to get them up. And I know for a lot of young teams, especially if they've had a hiccup here during the course of the non-conference schedule, that's really, really challenging, because, you're trying to get your base sets in, or your defensive principles in. Then you also have to get suddenly into scouting. And you can only do your scouting if you have a base set of principles to apply. You can't
Yeah.
just do a scout and say, hey, this guy's a great shooter. Well, you have to have already said, like, well, this is the way we deal with shooters off of screens, when he has the ball, when he's dribbling. And so that's really hard. How do you manage? You're doing both at the same time now. You're introducing your base principles and reinforcing those, and then also turning that into a scouting report. And that's a challenge to do on the fly.
Now, Coach, I watched a lot of ball this year so far. A lot of guys are playing more basic and more simple. And you know, it's the same kind of pattern. A lot of guys are just playing instead of throwing out the ball, it's going to play hard, run basic stuff, and execute that stuff and defend like crazy. You miss a screen,
Yeah.
fine. But as long as you play hard, it's what we care about right now because, like you said, it's so up and down, starting and stopping, and guys not have everything going in. It's making sure you apply those basic, like you said, principles and go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely seen that. And again, I think an advantage for us is having a veteran team where we can, we can talk about a game from 2 years ago and say, hey, remember we tried this, and our guys have the recall to be able to do that. If you have if you have so many new guys, then all of a sudden, again, you're just trying to say, hey, remember on this play, you start here. And, in a game, that has a way of really exposing yourself. So I think, being as simple as you can and doing as much review as you possibly can with new players is vital. But again, a challenge because the other team might be that much further ahead of you, and then that creates an imbalance there that you want to address. But it's very hard to with newer guys.
And Coach, I've told my listeners this so many times. This shit gonna show who really loves the game. You know who the ballers are, who the ones who really love this, because this shit's gonna challenge you in more ways than one. So if we'll see the guys who really love the game, who just want to be out there showing that I'm a baller, yeah. But do you really love the game? This is gonna show who really loves it, Coach, for real.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we kind of talk about that all the time, from our recruiting all the way up to our guys when they graduate. Is college basketball is demanding. It's really, really hard. It's hard to be successful. And loving basketball and loving being in the gym, that is a really critical part of all of it. And so, but that's why I think you make a great point, because if you love the game, you are going to learn faster. If you love the game, you're going to be in the gym. You're going to be taking advantage of the time and opportunities that you have. And I hope that does show up, because I think we have a group that really does love basketball.
Most definitely. And Coach, you all have a great conference. Talked about this last year, but the 18 is scary. From 1 to 14, you guys are tough, man. No easy outs in the A10. So I'm like, Coach, when you guys play tonight, man, if you don't bring it, you get an L hung on you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, it's a great conference. I've been here a while now, and they're such unique and different schools. Two Philadelphia schools, especially if they're filled with Philadelphia guys on their roster, just tough, gritty. You have Dayton, St. Louis, more national brands. Davidson has been good for, as long as Coach McKillop's been there. And, the two schools in the DC area. So it's really a tremendous challenge. There are great coaches. Basketball is the most, there's the most commitment in the schools to basketball at every school. And so that's a challenge. And that's something that is critical to having a successful conference, but it also makes it difficult for each and every night going out to play your games.
Most definitely, Coach, and that's what I got for you, man. You got a hostel coming up here tomorrow. What you see for those guys on the film, man, as you ready to play those guys and Coach Mihalik's boys?
Yeah, well, he's done a great job, and they have what I like how they play is they play with they play an easy style. In particular, in their particular guys, they play confidently, they play carefree, they forget about their last missed shot, and they continue to put pressure on your defense because they are confident and experienced and can score. So that's going to be a huge challenge for us. We're going to have to be ready to play, and I hope our guys will be.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time as always. A day for a game, and thank you again. Have a happy holidays. Hope to talk to you down the road next year, man.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Coach. Be good now.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right.